Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Special Needs Community live TV show. We focus on conversations that matter in the special needs and disabilities world. Our conversations focuses on challenges as well as the wins families and children experience in dealing with different. And along the way, we hope to inspire you as our audience, to encourage you, and to provide both useful and helpful information. So join us, share your challenges, inspirations, and aspirations, and let's spread awareness. Hello, Mary. How are you today?
Good. I am great. How are you doing?
I'm great. Hello, everyone. I'm Bridgetti Lim Banda from Cape Town in South Africa, and I am the host and producer, and Mary is my co-host.
Yes, Mary Elizabeth Jackson, and I am in Tennessee, and we're very excited today to have a guest on today, Anne-Marie Clark, and she is the mom of she's just an absolutely precious child. Annabel is her name, and she has Down syndrome, and we both thought it would be wonderful to have Anne-Marie on and let her come on and kind of talk about what it's like to be a mom, with a child going through that whole process, and what do they do every day, and what do they see that works. And Annabelle's dad is a doctor, and so he has lots of information as well. And I thought that, and you thought too, we thought it'd be really great to have Anne-Marie on and just kind of share that awareness with others. What is it like, and how do they get through as a family? Annabelle, she's such a thriving child, and she's in a really great learning environment that is supporting her as she's growing. So it does make a difference for any kind of child in the world. Having that loving support helps them grow. It makes such a huge difference, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So by way of introduction, Anne-Marie has been involved with the Down Syndrome Association of Middle Tennessee since the birth of her daughter, Annabel, as you mentioned, in 2013. And Anne-Marie is the current president for the board of their directors. The Down Syndrome Association of Middle Tennessee serves over 40 counties in and around Middle Tennessee and supports individuals with Down syndrome as well as their families. Anne-Marie has also published 3 novels and is the practice manager of her husband Russell's medical practice, the Clark Family Practice. So she lives in Nashville, Tennessee with her husband, daughter, 3 Dashuns, and 3 cats. Shall we welcome her to the show?
Absolutely.
Anne-Marie, welcome to the show. So happy to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
I'm so excited you're here. You know what? I didn't know that you had written 3 novels. We've never talked about that. We've only talked about our kids and the world, and so we'll have to have her on our author show.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
I know. We'll have to do that. So we're so excited to have you here, and you have to tell Bridgetti. So I think, was it Saturday? Y'all were running out the door. Did you have 5,000 eggs for Easter?
I have no idea. I just got handed all these eggs last week, boxes and boxes of eggs. And so we were going to the Easter egg hunt for the Down Syndrome Association. And we were running out the door, and you asked me to do this. I'm like, yeah, great. Just send me all the information. I'd love to do it. So I'm really happy to be here.
That's awesome. Did it turn out good?
I want to say,
it was awesome.
I want to say very welcome to all our live viewers, and welcome to the replay viewers. And please do share the show. And if you've got any questions for Anne-Marie while we are live, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll try and address them. And if you're watching the show on the replay, please also pop your questions in the chat, and we'll get back to those later. Anne-Marie, it's so wonderful to have you here. I think the first time anybody gets the news that they are pregnant with a special needs child, it can be pretty overwhelming. How was that for you, and how did you move forward from there?
Well, yes, very overwhelming. I was always told I could not get pregnant. So at 43, I'm suddenly pregnant. We had adopted two older children and they were adults. And I'm suddenly pregnant and, of course, overjoyed. And at 15 weeks, we found out that she had Down syndrome and that she was a girl. And it was pretty devastating. I didn't know anything about Down syndrome. I did not know anyone with Down syndrome. And so I think for about 2 weeks, I just kind of shut down and, just it was pretty devastating. I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know, what kind of life she would have. So my husband, being a medical person, he talked me through and he's like, we're going to love her just like we would, if she didn't have Down syndrome. So kind of got over it. And, as we went along with the pregnancy, we found out she had a heart condition. And then we found out she had a duodenal atresia, which is an, intestinal issue, bowel issue. So we knew she would have to have multiple surgeries to correct those things. So those things kind of outweigh the Down syndrome. And, we just kind of, feared for her at that point. But yeah, I kind of moved past the Down syndrome and just, we were having a baby. And that's, what we tell all new parents.
Yeah. And Marie, so retrospect is always a great thing, right?
Absolutely.
So if you had to take a step back now and you were to get that news today about your baby, how would you deal with it differently?
Oh my goodness. I think I would deal with everything differently. I think, I would be more aware of what, that first of all, you're having a baby, and that's a wonderful thing in and of itself. And I think I would have enjoyed my pregnancy more. It was a very, very difficult pregnancy, but I would have enjoyed it more. I would have taken that time, and not worried so much about things that I couldn't control. Because there's a lot of things, when you have a child with special needs that you can't control, and you have to learn, what you can and what you can't control, and be prepared for the things that you can't control, and, just educate yourself. So, yeah.
And how did you deal with the feelings? I think, every parent who, when they get the news that they are pregnant with a special needs baby, and this happens for both mom and dad, one of the first reactions could be that you blame yourself. What did I do wrong?
Oh, yeah.
How did you process that?
I don't know. I think I was just so overwhelmed at the time. I think it was like, being an older parent, it's like, should I have done, should we have done this? Should we, is this, responsible to bring this child into this world? I don't know. I think you just think of all the things that, you so many things go through your head, but at the end of the day, it's, it is what it is. And you have to just accept that, process that, grieve the loss of what you thought was going to be, and then move on, and you find a new life and a new joy, obviously.
Well, and it's changed your life and your husband in a direction you never thought. And, I got pregnant. Well, I lost a baby at 42, and then I got pregnant with Carson. And so I had lots of fears, like we older moms do, because we're told in this world past a certain age, things are very, scary for a mom and a baby, and the environment not being as healthy as if we were younger having children.
Right.
And so, but it's interesting, my OB had said to me they were seeing, at the time I was pregnant with Carson, they were having more mothers in their mid-20s that were having children with Down syndrome and various other genetic problems than older moms. So I don't know if she said that to me to calm me down and help me just to not worry so much. And I did do genetic testing, because obviously at 43 and 45, they're going to insist that we do those kind of things.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but I thought that was interesting that those statistics, at least at that point, 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, were a younger parent having issues, or having a child that had, challenges. So.
Well, I think a lot of it is, the younger people are the ones having the most children. And so I think that's why the statistic might be skewed slightly. But yeah, I mean, it is true that the older you get, the higher your chances are of having a child with Down syndrome. That's certainly true. But I think in our organization, most of the parents are probably in their 20s and 30s, who are having the children.
That's interesting. Did your husband change?
So how does...
Did he change his medicine direction? because her husband's a doctor. So
He's a nurse practitioner. Yes, he has been a registered nurse since 1990. So he always had wanted to go to, back to school and become a nurse practitioner. I think Annabel definitely was, pushing him just because of the way healthcare is going. And that's, a whole nother discussion. But, he wanted, to make sure that she was taken care of and, should anything happen that he would be able to take care of her. But yeah, she was definitely absolutely a motivating factor for sure.
And if you had, if when new parents come to you and now through your organization, what is the first advice that you give to them?
Well, the very first thing that we say is congratulations, because we're excited. You're having a baby, like I mentioned earlier. We actually, our organization, I don't know if you can see it, has put together this.
Hold on a second. I'm going to put you on full screen.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so this book is a new parent handbook, and it has all updated information regarding Down syndrome. It's got tons of resources in it. Our organization actually put this together because there was so much bad information out there on the internet. So our organization, we give them this obviously when they first become pregnant or, they first had a baby. We throw baby showers for all the new and expecting moms twice a year. We welcome them with open arms into our community and just surround them with love and support. And it's just a wonderful environment. It just kind of takes their fears away. You see them walk into the baby showers and they're very nervous right off the bat, and then they leave. And I think they just, they just can kind of breathe. And, other kids are there. Annabel is there. I usually co-host it, and they can just see all the happy kids and that they're just regular kids.
Anne-Marie, you mentioned an interesting thing about there being misconceptions out there about Down syndrome. Can you name one or two things that are wrong that people should know about Down syndrome?
Let's see, that they will never read and write, that they will never go to college, that they will never drive, they'll never live alone, they'll never lead a productive life. My daughter is in kindergarten and she reads. I think she's like at a kindergarten or first grade reading level right now. She is extremely intelligent. Her speech is a little bit delayed, but it's getting there. And, with work, and we work very hard at home, but these things, back in the day when all of these statistics were probably, written, was back when people used to institutionalize their loved ones with Down syndrome, and they didn't have the opportunities available to them. So, inclusion and, all these opportunities that are available now has really been a huge game changer.
So in terms of integration, would you say that children with Down syndrome should be separated from mainstream?
Absolutely not. They should be fully integrated. There's been tons of research and studies done, and children with any kind of special need do so much better when they're with their typically developing peers. They learn better. The typically developing peers are better people because of it. They learn acceptance and kindness. And, Annabelle is in a class with two girls with Down syndrome, her and one other girl. And then there's 6 boys in the class. And these boys they all just dote on these 2 girls and help them and encourage them. And they just see them as sweet little girls, like little sisters. And so inclusion is huge. Definitely need more inclusion in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a win-win for both sides.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of children on the spectrum, I've seen it in my own life, but it seems like, and I may go along with language delay, I'm not sure, they mimic a lot of everything that they see around them, more so than maybe a typical child might. So it's really great for them to see, okay, so like I know my little guy, it was interesting. We had to teach him how to play with toys because he didn't understand it when he was little. And most children kind of grasp, a typical child will grasp how to play, or they might have an older sibling to watch, play with toys, but we had to teach him how to do that. And then, but the mimicking and the mirroring is such a great thing. And yes, teaching children compassion early in life, and that, hey, you know what? This is just another kiddo beside you. Come on, let's go, and let's throw the ball and let's color and whatever we do when we're little. All that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Anne-Marie, human nature, I want to ask this question because it's something that parents may find overwhelming as well. When you have a special needs child or Down syndrome child, human nature is when you pass somebody with a baby, you stare. How do you cope with that overwhelm of people staring at your baby and looking at you as if you did something wrong?
I can honestly say I don't think I've ever experienced anyone thinking or saying, I don't know if they have, that I did something wrong. Most everybody stares at Annabelle because she's cute and she goes up to people and she says hi to them. And, she's just a very friendly child. I think the one time I can honestly say I felt uncomfortable, we were in a restaurant and she was a baby and she was tube fed at the time. And she threw up, like just her food. Every time she would eat, she would get like this reflux and she would throw up. And we were in a pretty nice restaurant and I felt the stares and I just, we left and I felt very humiliated and people were staring. Nobody was like jumping in to help or anything. But I think if you do experience that, say hi. We just say hi to people. If anybody's looking at us, we go hi. It kind of breaks that ice. And some people have asked questions, and I found that a lot of people are, they're very just curious, but they have a loved one with Down syndrome or they've known somebody with Down syndrome, and that's merely why they're staring. It's not meant to be, there's no ill intention with them. They just look at her and smile and, they say, oh, I knew somebody, or I have a cousin or a brother. Or we encounter that a lot.
Sure you do. Yeah, and it's children. Children tend to have that question. Especially, right. I find children who are on the spectrum tend to ask those questions more than maybe another child might not say anything. Like, mommy, look at that little girl over there. Look at that little boy, or what are they doing? Or like if a child's in a wheelchair, kids right. are really curious and Absolutely. They don't understand. And so sometimes they do ask those questions that appear inappropriate. But that's our responsibility as parents, is to teach them that it's okay. They're totally okay, and this is what's happening with this child.
Right, exactly. And just, teach your kids, just come up to somebody and say hi, if you're at the park or whatever, hey, you want to play? You want to come over to the swings or, something.
That's a nice way of dealing with it, of breaking the ice, as you said, and not making anyone feel uncomfortable. Because I think, sometimes you meet a new parent and you don't know what to say, because you may have feelings of overwhelm and not wanting to offend the person. And by you stepping in and just saying hi with a warm smile kind of just breaks the ice. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. And it works. And, then people feel more comfortable around us and feel like they can, ask questions or whatever. But yeah, I think when you have a child with special needs, I don't know, it brings you out of your comfort zone a little bit. And, you're able to more, you're able, I don't know, defend your child, but you're able to advocate more, for your child. And you want them to be, accepted. Everybody wants their child to be accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like places at the playground. I know that's been challenging, and I know it's probably challenging for you as well. And parents with kids, just all kinds of needs from one end of the spectrum to the other, and we do have a playground here that's specifically for kids with disabilities. And I don't know if Bridgetti knows that, but we do have a special needs playground we have here in town. And it's wonderful. It has access for even a child in a wheelchair to swing, or to get that feeling of swinging in the wheelchair, and various other things. But, it tends to be used by typical kids, sometimes who are not as, I guess, open and accepting to the children that the playground's there for. So that's been a little bit challenging there. But I know, when you have a kiddo that's screaming on the playground, or very, very overwhelmed, or not sure about touching things and getting on stuff, it's really nice if another child can kind of come up and say, hey, let's go over here, and kind of break the ice, like you're talking about, and make them feel like, hey, it's okay, we're all on the playground, we're all here together, and it's okay to do this, and maybe a little scary, but look, I'm doing it, come do it with me, kind of thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And are the teachers in your schools pretty much accepting of children of special needs? Do they know how to cope with situations when things are not as friendly as they need to be between the children?
We have the absolute most wonderful teachers that God ever created. We're so fortunate. Mary and I are so fortunate. We have a wonderful special resources teacher. I think she was a special ed teacher for about 16 years in the public school system, and she's at our school now. And we're so fortunate to have her. But having a small class size, I think, has helped tremendously. For the kids, they all know each other really, really well. I don't think we've ever had any discord between any of the kids in the class. But we do have, the resource there for her. And she has another teacher, kind of assistant. We've got so many people that just jump in and help. It's just wonderful. We're very, very blessed.
We need more schools like this.
Absolutely.
Yes,
we do.
Absolutely, and it's beautiful. And we need schools that offer certain things for kids, just to offer them. You don't have to go through an IEP. You don't have to go through a diagnosis. You don't have to have a 504 and all those things that you have to have in a classroom for just even preferred seating or extra test taking time or a sensory break. I mean, it's provided at this school, and so I know Anne Marie, as well as I do, wants to see the school grow and just continue and be a role model in some ways, for other schools to go, hey, this is really working over here.
Mm-hmm.
A really positive thing going. Let's keep recreating this, in other places.
Exactly. Yeah, that is for sure. Yeah.
That sounds like great advice. I think if this could roll out into more schools, it'd be amazing. Because I believe what you're saying, that these children with special needs should be integrated into mainstream. Because I spoke to a gentleman on LinkedIn not too long ago, and I'm not quite sure. People were telling their stories, and he was telling his story, and he was saying that he didn't fit into mainstream school because they took him out of his regular class and put him into a special class. Mm-hmm. And he says that made him feel that he was different, that he was not capable of reaching heights that other kids did. And, it just created feelings of angst in him, and he couldn't perform in school. And so he left school at a very young age. Mm-hmm. Fortunately for him, he had this natural love for cameras and videos, and that's what he started doing. And in fact, he actually never went to school. He said he tried to go back when he was about 13, and that didn't work so well again because he felt he was hitting a brick wall, because he was different. Mm-hmm. And obviously, this is a while back, and things have changed in schools and so on. And at the age of 19, he now had exemption because of his age. And he says he thought, well, he'll now go to college and try and get, a degree of something to validate what he had learned. And he said he tried it for a while. And the interesting thing was, even though he had not done regular school, he passed 100% entry levels for college, which was amazing. And he didn't finish, but he's gainfully employed. He's got clients. He's got a child of his own. He's able to support his family. And I thought, what a wonderfully heartwarming story.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do. I have a cousin with cerebral palsy. He was born with, and it was very hard to walk and everything, but he went to college. He lives on his own. They have fixed his car, so he drives. He has a job. It's so inspirational to see that, and to know that human beings have such an incredible drive inside themselves to succeed and to move forward, and that ability to learn and want to learn more and more and more. So as a world, a society, whatever, human beings, we have a responsibility to provide this for children because they are our future, and give them everything they can to be successful. I just think that's our responsibility.
It absolutely is. And I think as special needs parents, set your expectations for your child high. Don't expect that they're going to be down here. Expect that they're going to be, way, way up here. And, Annabelle keeps exceeding our expectations literally every single day. We just went through the potty training thing, fully potty trained in under a week. I mean, she's
Wow.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's so surprising.
Wow.
I know. So, yeah, just set your expectations high. Expect that they're going to do great things because they will. They absolutely will. And they're going to surprise you every day.
I think that's a fantastic point that you raised there, because I think it may be tempting for a special needs mom to lower the bar and expect less. And especially if you've got a child or other children, Mary, you could probably relate to that as well. If you've got another child or other children that are not special needs, you may set the bar higher for them and much, much lower for the child that does have special needs. So you've
Right.
raised a very, very valid point there, to set the bar even higher, because if the expectation is there, there's something for them to reach out to.
And they tend to always surprise you. I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised myself. Like I'm watching this first year and I'm like, holy cow, I never imagined we'd be here where we are. And I'm so proud and so excited, just bursting, all the time. I'm so happy and I'm just thrilled. And so I'm just like, okay, we're just going to go along. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep adding. We're just going to keep teaching. There's no limit to anything, because kids really do surprise us.
They absolutely do. Yeah, same thing. I mean, Annabelle, at the beginning of the year, night and day difference. And, kids with Down syndrome, especially Annabelle, I know this to be so true for her: repetition, repetition, repetition. And, she just thrives on that. And we've got very patient teachers. But I don't know, I think I set the bar a little bit higher for Annabelle, knowing that I'm an older mom, and that I've got limited time. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I do expect she's just the most joyful, wonderful child. She says please and thank you for everything. And I think if a child with special needs and a speech delay can do this, there's no excuse for any child.
There's no excuse for manners not being used by all kids. I agree. Yeah, you're like, wait, you didn't say thank you. Hold on. Like, this child can't, you can.
Right?
Yeah. And Maria, I can't believe it. We're out of time. 30 minutes goes by so quickly. You've shared some amazing takeaways with us today, and I want to thank you so much. And we really would love to have you back on our Writers Corner live show as an author. We didn't touch on that at all today. But thank you for being such a great mom and for sharing your insights. And we'd love to invite you back again sometime. How can people get in touch with your organization?
The Down Syndrome Association's website is somethingextra.org. So that's the word something and extra, because we have an extra chromosome, or they do, somethingextra.org. And we're also on Facebook, Down Syndrome Association of Middle Tennessee.
Fantastic. Thank you so, so much for being a great guest. And I know that anyone watching the show today live and on the replay has got some amazing takeaways. Thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to everyone today. And please join us again next week, same time, same place, on Special Needs Community TV. Thank you, everyone. From me, Bridgetti in Cape Town, it's goodbye for now.
Bye, everybody from
Bye.
Tennessee. Bye.